My daughter blocked me on all social media after her wedding, saying I never want to see you again. She thought she'd successfully erased me from her life. What she didn't know was that she'd forgotten about one family group chat, and what I witnessed there would save her from the biggest mistake of her life. My name is Robert Hayes, and at 51 years old I thought I understood my relationship with my daughter. As a construction company owner in Phoenix, I'd always prided myself on being straightforward, protective, and honest about my feelings. But nothing prepared me for the moment my only child decided I was no longer welcome in her life. Emma had always been independent, strong-willed, and confident in her decisions. At 26, she was building a successful career in marketing and seemed to have everything figured out. When she started dating Tyler Morrison 2 years ago, I tried to be supportive despite the nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right about him. Tyler was 28, worked in sales, and had the kind of smooth charisma that made people instantly like him. He was charming, well-dressed, and knew exactly what to say in every situation. But that's what bothered me. Everything about Tyler felt calculated, like he was always performing rather than just being himself. Emma was head over heels in love. She'd light up whenever Tyler's name came up in conversation, and she started making major life decisions based on what Tyler thought was best. When he suggested she move in with him after 6 months of dating, she didn't hesitate. When he encouraged her to take a higher-paying job that required longer hours, she jumped at the opportunity. I kept my concerns to myself, not wanting to be the overprotective father who couldn't let his daughter make her own choices. But during family dinners, I noticed subtle changes in Emma's behavior when Tyler was around. She was quieter, more deferential, always checking his reaction before expressing an opinion. The engagement came after 18 months of dating. Tyler proposed at a fancy restaurant with a ring that must have cost more than Emma made in 3 months. Everyone was thrilled, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Tyler was moving too fast, pushing Emma toward commitments she might not have made on her own timeline. Planning the wedding became Tyler's project. He had opinions about everything: the venue, the guest list, the flowers, even Emma's dress. Emma seemed happy to let him take control, but I watched my confident, decisive daughter become someone who constantly asked, "What do you think, Tyler?" before making any decision. That's when I made the mistake that would temporarily cost me my relationship with Emma. 3 weeks before the wedding, I asked Emma to have lunch with me alone. I'd been wrestling with whether to say anything, but my instincts as a father finally won out. "Emma, I need to ask you something, and I want you to really think about your answer," I said carefully. "Are you sure Tyler is the right person for you? I mean, are you marrying him because you can't imagine life without him, or because you can't imagine disappointing him?" Emma's face went white, then red with anger. "Dad, what are you saying? That I don't know my own mind, that I'm too weak or stupid to choose the right partner?" "That's not what I meant at all. I just noticed that you've changed since you've been with Tyler. You used to be so decisive, so confident in your own opinions." "Maybe I've just learned to consider other people's feelings instead of being selfish," Emma snapped. "Tyler loves me, Dad. He takes care of me. He wants to build a future together. I'm sorry if that doesn't meet your standards." The conversation went downhill from there. Emma accused me of being jealous, controlling, and unable to accept that she was building her own life. I tried to explain that I just wanted her to be happy, but the damage was done. Emma barely spoke to me for the remaining weeks before the wedding. Tyler, meanwhile, was perfectly polite but cold, treating me like an obstacle he had to tolerate rather than family he wanted to connect with. The wedding day itself was beautiful, and Emma looked radiant. During the reception, I tried one more time to bridge the gap between us. "Emma, you look absolutely beautiful. I hope you know that all I want is for you to be happy." "Dad, I am happy. I wish you could just accept that Tyler makes me happy instead of constantly looking for problems." "I'm not looking for problems. I'm just saying that if you ever need anything, anything at all, I'm here for you." Emma's expression hardened. "What I need is for you to trust my judgment and stop trying to sabotage my marriage before it even starts." That's when Tyler appeared beside her, his arm sliding possessively around her waist. "Mr. Hayes, I think Emma's made it clear that she doesn't appreciate your concerns about our relationship. Maybe it's time to respect her wishes and give us some space." The dismissive tone in his voice, the way he spoke for Emma rather than letting her handle the conversation herself, confirmed every instinct I'd had about Tyler's controlling nature. "Tyler, I was talking to my daughter." "And now you're talking to her husband," Tyler replied smoothly. "Emma doesn't need your negativity in her life anymore. She has a family now that actually supports her decisions." Emma didn't contradict him. She just stood there letting Tyler speak for her, and I realized I'd lost her completely. The next morning, Emma called me with a message that felt like a physical blow. "Dad, I've thought about everything you said yesterday, and I've made a decision. I can't have someone in my life who doesn't respect my choices or my marriage. Tyler is my family now, and I need to protect that. I don't want to see you anymore. Emma, please, let's talk about this. I love you, and I just want what's best for you. What's best for me is a fresh start without people who bring negativity and doubt into my marriage. I never want to see you again." She hung up before I could respond. Over the next few days, I discovered the extent of my exile from Emma's life. She blocked me on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. My calls went straight to voicemail. When I tried to reach out through other family members, they told me Emma had asked them not to share information about her life with me. I was completely cut off from my daughter's life, with no way to know if she was safe, happy, or struggling. For 3 months, I lived with the pain of that separation, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake by expressing my concerns or if my instincts about Tyler had been right. I had no way of knowing what was happening in Emma's marriage, no way to check on her well-being. Then I remembered something Emma had probably forgotten about: the Hayes Family Updates group chat. Years ago, when Emma was in college, my sister had created a WhatsApp group to keep extended family connected. It included me, Emma, my sister Julie, my brother Mark, and a few cousins. Emma had joined enthusiastically at first, sharing photos and updates about her studies, but as the group became less active and Emma got busier with work and her relationship, she stopped participating in conversations. The chat had been mostly dormant for over a year, with occasional birthday wishes or holiday photos. Emma had forgotten she was still a member. When I checked the group chat, I saw that Emma's status still showed her as an active participant, even though she hadn't posted anything in months. More importantly, I could see when she was online and occasionally messages that were meant for Tyler but accidentally sent to the group instead of their private chat. At first, it was just innocent mistakes. Messages like, "Can you pick up milk?" or "running late from work" that were clearly meant for Tyler but sent to our family group by accident. But then I started seeing messages that made my blood run cold. "I'm sorry I talked to Julie about our finances. I know you said I shouldn't discuss our business with family. You're right. I shouldn't have gone to lunch with Brittany without asking you first. I'll cancel my gym membership if you think it's too expensive. I know you're trying to help us save money." These weren't the words of my confident, independent daughter. These were the words of someone who was being controlled, manipulated, and made to feel guilty about normal activities like talking to family or maintaining friendships. But the message that made me realize Emma was in serious trouble came on a Tuesday evening in November. "I'm sorry I questioned you about the credit card charges. I know you're handling our finances and I should trust you. I won't bring it up again." Emma was apologizing for asking questions about her own money. My successful, educated daughter was being trained not to question financial decisions in her own marriage. That's when I started paying closer attention to the pattern of messages Emma was accidentally sending to our family group. What I discovered over the next few weeks painted a picture of systematic emotional and financial abuse that made me sick to my stomach. Tyler was isolating Emma from her friends and family, controlling her finances and making her question her own judgment about everything from career decisions to personal relationships. The confident woman I'd raised was being systematically broken down by a man who presented himself as caring and protective, while actually being manipulative and controlling. But the message that finally pushed me to take action came 3 weeks later. I know you're disappointed that I can't give you access to my trust fund yet. I'm working on it, but Dad set up restrictions that are hard to get around. I promise I'll find a way to get you the money you need for your business investment. Emma had a trust fund that I'd established for her college education and future security. Tyler was pressuring her to break the terms of that trust to fund his business ventures. He was systematically stealing my daughter's financial security while convincing her it was an act of love and partnership. I realized that Emma wasn't just in an unhappy marriage. She was being financially and emotionally abused by someone who had targeted her specifically for her family's wealth and her own trusting nature. I had to find a way to help her, even if she currently believed I was the enemy. The solution came through Emma's college roommate, Brittany Chen, whose contact information I found in the group chat when Emma mentioned having lunch with her. I called Brittany and explained what I'd been witnessing through the accidental messages. "Mr. Hayes, I'm so glad you called," Brittany said immediately. "I've been worried about Emma for months. She's completely changed since she married Tyler. She used to be so outgoing and confident, but now she asks permission for everything and apologizes constantly." "Have you tried talking to her about it?" "I tried once and she got very defensive. She said Tyler was helping her become more mature and responsible, and that people who didn't understand their relationship were just jealous." It sounded like she was repeating something Tyler had told her to say. Brittany and I developed a plan to approach Emma together. We would meet her at a neutral location, present the evidence of Tyler's manipulation gently, and offer her support without making her feel attacked or judged. The intervention took place at a coffee shop near Emma's office. Brittany had invited Emma to lunch, and I arrived after they'd been talking for a few minutes. Emma's face went white when she saw me. "Dad, what are you doing here? I told you I didn't want to see you." "Emma, please just listen for 5 minutes. I have something to show you that I think you need to see." I pulled out printed screenshots of the messages Emma had accidentally sent to the family group chat over the past 2 months. Her face went from anger to confusion to horror as she read her own words. "These are your messages, Emma. You sent them to our family group chat by mistake. Look at what you're apologizing for, talking to family, asking questions about your own money, having lunch with friends." Emma stared at the papers, her hands shaking slightly. I don't remember sending these to the group. I thought they were going to Tyler." "Emma," Brittany said gently, "do you hear yourself? You're apologizing to your husband for having normal conversations and making normal decisions. This isn't what healthy relationships look like." "Tyler loves me," Emma said, but her voice lacked conviction. "He's just helping me make better financial decisions and prioritize our marriage." "Emma, look at this message," I said, pointing to one of the screenshots. "You're promising to give Tyler access to your trust fund for his business investment. That money was meant to protect your future, not fund his ventures." Emma read the message again, and I could see the realization dawning on her face. "He said it was temporary, just until his business got off the ground. He said it showed I trusted him." "Emma, Tyler has been systematically isolating you from everyone who cares about you and gaining control over your finances. This isn't love, it's manipulation." For the first time since her wedding, I saw a flash of the old Emma, the strong, analytical woman who could spot problems and solve them. "Oh my God," she whispered. I've been... Emma broke down crying, and I realized she'd been living in an emotional prison for months, convinced that Tyler's control was actually care and protection. The next few hours were difficult, but necessary. Emma admitted that Tyler monitored her phone calls, questioned her about conversations with friends and co-workers, and had gradually taken control of their joint finances while pressuring her to give him access to her personal accounts. She'd been so isolated and manipulated that she'd started to believe her own family and friends were the problem, rather than recognizing Tyler's behavior as abusive. "I thought I was being a good wife," Emma said through her tears. "I thought marriage meant putting your husband's needs first and trusting his judgment." Marriage means partnership, Emma. It means supporting each other, not one person controlling the other. Emma filed for divorce 2 weeks later. The process revealed the extent of Tyler's financial manipulation. He'd run up significant debt on credit cards in Emma's name and had been planning to use her trust fund to cover gambling losses from what he'd told her were business investments. Tyler's mask slipped completely once he realized Emma was leaving him. The charming, caring husband disappeared, replaced by someone who threatened legal action, demanded Emma pay for his business losses, and accused her family of turning her against him. But Emma had finally seen through his manipulation, and she was strong enough to walk away. 6 months later, Emma and I were having dinner at our favorite restaurant, rebuilding the relationship that Tyler had tried to destroy. "Dad, I owe you an apology," Emma said. "You saw what I couldn't see, and I pushed you away for trying to protect me." "Emma, you don't owe me anything. Tyler was a professional manipulator. He knew exactly how to make you doubt everyone who might question his behavior. But you never stopped watching out for me. Even when I told you I never wanted to see you again, you found a way to keep me safe." I smiled at my daughter, grateful that her strength and intelligence had ultimately saved her from a life of manipulation and control. That's what fathers do, Emma. We watch out for our children even when they don't realize they need watching out for. Emma had thought she'd successfully erased me from her life when she blocked me on social media. What she didn't know was that she'd forgotten about one family group chat, and what I witnessed there would save her from the biggest mistake of her life. Sometimes the most important conversations happen by accident, and sometimes the technology meant to keep us apart can actually bring us back together.